Hello, welcome to the maintenance estimation video. We're going to be walking through the process of creating a maintenance estimate in Manage 360. Now, before jumping in to the video, just a couple things. Again, we do have other videos that you can access, especially around the opportunity creation process. Very key to that we can get to that process, because in order to make an estimate, you need to have an opportunity and manage. And then also in the maintenance estimates, we use the services to add to the estimate itself. So it's important that in the cost book you've created the services for that, and so we do have video to walk you through that process as well. Now, in this case, the way that we're going to do it today is I'm going to start from an existing opportunity. Again, that is typically the way that this will usually happen, is that there will be an opportunity that has been created previously, and then from that opportunity, we go and create the maintenance estimate. So in this case, I have my opportunity here. It's been created. It's linked to an account. So I'm going to go into my opportunity. Now I'm going to make the estimate from here. Now, again, in here is just part of the process. You can give it a different name. I'm just going to change the sales phase as part of, again, the typical workflow and manage. We'll say we're going to estimating, click the save button, and then I'm going to go into the maintenance estimates tab. To do that. Again, there's other things you can do. You can change other information as well, but I want to just jump into the maintenance estimates tab there from the opportunity. Now, when I do it this way, because I'm in the opportunity, when I create the estimate from here, it's automatically, Manage understands the linkage is going to happen already. So when you go to the maintenance estimates tab, when there are not any estimates existing, there is just a new estimate button. Once we have created the estimate and saved it, and if there are different versions, we'll be able to also access them from here. There'll no longer be a new estimate button, but we'll be able to see all the estimates and click on their names to open them up. But in this case, we're making a new one, so I want to click on the new estimate button. I'm in the tab, click the new estimate button. And so the first thing that we're prompted with, whenever this happens, once it knows the situation, Manage says, okay, select an estimate template. Now, the estimate templates here, we're going to use the blank estimate. That's always available. It's just a blank estimate we make, and we're going to create that and use that to do the process. There are also templates that you can create. You see in this example, there's a fall cleanup template. So if there are particular services that you offer typically together, you can create your own templates that come in this list. You give them a name, you can see the services, and then in that case, you will already have services. Now, we will, like I said, today use the blank one. We'll go through afterwards and show you during the process how you can create your own templates as well on there. Now, like I said, we're going to click the blank one, click on the select button. So now it's going to use the blank template, and now this screen, now we have the new maintenance estimate screen here. So again, if you've seen other parts of Manage, again, accounts and opportunities, a very, very similar process is happening in that we don't have an estimate yet, but we have the beginnings of an estimate here. So in this case, before I can actually start jumping in and adding services, I have to save this at least one time. Now, the majority of the information that's here is just automatically pulled forward from information from the opportunity, information from the account, also information from the divisions as well. So I'll just do a very quick overview here of the details tab and then the notes tab. And again, at the beginning, because before we saved it, there's only two tabs, details and notes. So again, account, the opportunity information, it's a link back to it. I can get there whenever I need to. Primary contact information here, what division it belongs to. Now the estimate name, again, it defaults to the opportunity name, and so if you have renamed the opportunity, that's great, it fills in, you're good to go. If you want to change that, no problem, jump in there, you can change that estimate name to whatever you'd like. It's fully editable after the fact as well on there. Now, we have a few other fields that you can see here. Again, these will only show up if they have been filled in at the account level. So at the account level, we have a spot for a lawn area, bed area, if there's snow plowing area, things like that. So if you fill those in, again, if you know that we're going to do some maintenance work for this client, then if you fill them in on the estimate screen, you'll have them here so that as you are adding other services, you can refer to this information as well and then use it to help build out the estimate that's on there. Now, over on the right-hand side, a couple of simple fields as well. Estimation date defaults to today's date here. The expiry date also here. Basically, again, this comes from the division settings. It was set to expire in 30 days. That's for that information there. You can change the expiry date as well. That's not a problem. The contract start and end date, they can be left blank at this point. Again, if you know exactly when the service is typically going to run for, what days we're going to be providing these services between these dates, you can go ahead and fill it in now, no problem. And it is fine to leave that blank through the process. The only point that they are actually required is if we are going to win this estimate and turn it into a job, it needs to know between what dates we are providing the services on there. The status of it's open, brand new estimate, a sub status, which you can use to help track as well. It's open as we send it to the client, we're waiting, and then down the line, we can win it and lose it on there. Salesperson estimator, again, pulling forward from the opportunity information. Again, this is used to help, number one, if I'm looking at the maintenance estimate list, I can search, show me by salesperson, show me by estimator, and also on the reporting side of it as well. Now, all this, again, once it's been saved, all this can be edited as needed as well. There's a notes tab again at the very beginning, these two tabs. So again, there's 4 main fields in here. Proposal notes, again, if I click here, these are notes that are specifically for the proposal document. You can click on it, you can enter text, you can do some formatting as well on there. Basically, if I put text in there, it will appear on the proposal right near the top of the proposal before we get into the details. Opportunity notes, there aren't any, so that's why it says that. Again, if I had added notes to the opportunity, kind of describing what the client wanted, or just discussions we've had, that information will also be visible here as well. Now, there's a crew instructions section, which is nice here. The crew instructions, and we'll talk about this shortly when we get into the services, but there are levels of crew instructions here. These are instructions for the entire job, for all the work we're going to do. So if I have instructions that apply to every service, it's not, again, not specifically about, say, the mowing or whatever we're going to do for them, then I can put instructions into here. Now, these instructions, they will go through to the job, and then down the line, they will also be visible on the mobile app if that's being used, or on the timesheets as well. So very useful part of it there. And then finally, private notes. If you wanted to add any specific notes just for this job that's not customer facing, we don't report off of it, then you can use that in private notes field as well on there. But again, at the beginning, those are the 2 main tabs that we have. But again, once this is in, before we want to start adding the services, I have to save it at least once. Now, so again, typically what we do is we use the save button. So that will save it, leave the screen open, refresh it, so then I will have additional areas where I can enter information. So I'll click the save button. So again, now the screen refreshes. The details tab is still there. It's still intact. Nothing has changed. Exactly the same. Notes tab, same thing. Those 2 tabs are there. But now I also have the services tab, the billing tab, and the proposal tab. Now, also you notice at the top of the screen, it no longer says new estimated now. So I'm editing this estimate. Again, there's nothing on it yet, but I'm now in the estimate has been saved. So again, if someone searches, they'll find this estimate on here as well. And then I can now start adding additional information to this estimate as well on there. So I'll go over the 3 new tabs: services, billing, proposal, and then I'll go into them in a little bit more detail each. Now, the services tab, this is again typically where you'll be spending the majority of the time on the maintenance estimate, where I add the services, where I adjust pricing, where I can fine-tune the details of the service itself that's on there, so you can do all that information, because it will come back to here on there. Now, it is broken up into different sections, again, so you can see included and optional as needed. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And at the bottom as well, it has a section where we can kind of summarize how much is this entire maintenance estimate going to cost. And the analysis button at the bottom kind of show us our overhead and profit margin, again, based on what we have set up in the division. How does that look for this particular estimate as well on there? Now, billing tab, So again, how's a client going to be paying for it on there as well, or how are we going to bill them? And guys, again, some basic options here. There's a way that they can pay per visit, which means like, so as visits get done, then we bill them for those visits specifically. Periodic billing, if they're going to take the cost of these services and want to pay for it over X number of months, we can do that as well. And then also there's a spot for if they want to prepay for the whole contract at once, and we can also offer a potential discount for a prepayment as well. And again, we'll come back over this one once we've added some services. We'll come back into here and do that one as well. Now, the proposal tab, again, this is where once we've added services, we come to the proposal tab. We can select a template, and then we can jump in and then generate the Word document on here as well. Now, again, so for today's for this video, we're going to just kind of select a template and just how the view proposal function works, because we do have a separate video that goes over all of the options within the templates themselves, like how much information am I going to send to Word. So I have a separate video to that that's going to go over all those different options on there as well for that. But again, once we've got some services and the billing set up, we'll come to the proposal and generate that as well. And lastly, over on the top right corner, now you don't have to be in any specific tab to see this, but we do have the actions button where you can access additional things that you can do with the estimate. Now, again, we'll go over these in more detail once we've added things, but basically, these are things that are, I want to do something to the estimate. I want to delete the estimate, for examples in there. But again, you do not have to be in any specific tab to have access to this information here. So again, services, billing, proposal, we'll jump into those, go over that process, and then come back to the actions tab. Now, I'll go to the services tab. So the services tab, like I said, you're typically going to be spending, again, the majority of time in here, because this is where you are, like I said, adding services to the estimate. Then once a service has been added, then I'm going in there and I can adjust quantities and costs and prices of those specific services as well. Now, like I said before, this is a blank estimate. If I had used an estimate template, this services tab would potentially have items, different services already in here. So again, even though we're offering mowing dollar clients, different clients, and we charge different amounts based on the size of their lawn and what services we do. So within that, once I have even though the service is here, I would still go into here and then make adjustments again based on, okay, this client's lawn is this is the area of the lawn, this is the square footage here. Adjust that, tweaks the price. I need to change that, okay, and then I can go on from there. So you're still, even though you may have services here, you're going into and adjusting them as well to have that. Now, before I add the services, again, there's a nice add services button right here. Again, that's the main thing you'll be doing on this page. We have 5 different sections here. So the sections that we have, they're kind of tied to how we are going to kind of build the client for these things. So if they're included, there's 2 included sections. These are things that are included in their overall contract price on here as well. So whether it's whether it's time material or whether it's not. So if it's not time material, the way that Manage assumes it's working is that we're going to estimate, like for example, mowing, and we'll put one on shortly. If we're going to mow the client, we're going to estimate here. It's going to cost $40 every time. So I'm going to charge them $40 every time we go. So we've already estimated our time and our cost, and we're not going to change. If it takes us longer 1 week, though, that's fine. We're just still, it's $40 every time we go. So that's what the included ones are. We've already estimated the time, material, the price for those items. Now, the time material option gives you an option if they're ones where we know roughly or approximately what we're going to take to do it, hour-wise, maybe dollar-wise. Maybe we have a pretty good estimate even, and then we can kind of put that in there, but that the final pricing may change in that case. So that's what the time material option is for. We're still going to come and do these services, but the exact pricing isn't 100% yet on that. Or again, and it can also be for services where we don't fully know, like we might know just we're going to go there for at least an hour, but it could be up to 3-4 hours. And once the guys go and do it, once our crews go and do the work, then we can adjust that as well on the pricing side and the billing side. But that's what the time material difference with those included is that we are going to do these services up in here included, these we know the price, it's already been determined. These ones, the price may be close, but once they do the work, then the final price will flow out of there as well. Now, I'll come back to optional. The as needed or on demand. These ones are again, we will potentially do these, because as needed means, yeah, if the client asks us, then, or sorry, excuse me, as needed is an external event triggers it. So again, it may be something that we do once or twice or no times or 15 times or and any number of times, but if it's as needed on there as well, it's something that we may do for the client. So we do the work on there, and then we bill them for that. So the as needed ones, they're part of the overall contract, but we don't know necessarily at the beginning whether or not we're going to do them, or actually how many times we're going to do them. Maybe something that just comes up once, or maybe something we do 3 or 4 or 5 times on there as well. And a very common example of this is a lot of times snow services. Like if we don't know, like again, depending on how we build the client, but if we don't know, we're going to build only for when we come out. We don't want to make that included, because included wants to know how many times are you going to do it. As needed is, well, if it's a really bad snow, we're going to maybe come 15, 20 times. If it's a very mild winter, we may come 3 times. That's what the as needed. Every time we go, this is the price on there as well. Same thing for on demand. Every time we go, every time we do the service, this is the price. That's what those 2 areas are for. Now, the optional section, so these are things that are not part of the contract yet. They're things that the clients can pick if they want to have included in their job, and the optional part allows you to go in there and decide, they can then see which ones they want. If they don't choose them, that's fine. They don't become part of the job, and those services aren't done for them as well. Now, as you're adding services, again, because a lot of the work has already been done in the setting up of the services in the cost book, we're not going to go into too much detail about all the individual details about the services themselves, because like I said, that video really goes into that as well. But typically, as you're adding services, all this information here has been already kind of set up in the cost book. That's why, again, the more time spent setting up the cost book, as correct as it can be, because there's always things that change, then that way, as you add them, it automatically goes into a specific section, because it knows, oh yeah, this one is typically as needed, this one is typically included. But again, once it's on the estimate, you can change nearly anything about the service as well for that. So before we continue on, again, we want to add some services here as well for that. So I'm going to click on the Add Services button so we can get some things on here and then walk through that process as well. Again, like I said, that's all. Again, the main thing is here we want to add service. What services are we going to do for the client? Now, click the Add Services button. So what you're going to see is a window into our services specifically on there. Again, and also, just like it says in the message here, only the services from the specific division you're in as well, because again, that's based on the pricing and the overhead and the profit margin for the division. So I choose the services. Now, again, you click on the service name to choose it. The cost and price that you see here, this is just kind of, again, like I said, the cost and price that is in the cost book itself. But again, you will likely, again, depending on the service, but I would say most times be changing the price, because again, depending on what we do for the client, how long that service is going to take for this particular client, that will be changing. But like I said, most of it's ready to go. You just change the quantities of stuff that we need so that it knows how much we're going to charge for this particular client. So I'll click on this bed cleaning and mulching service. Click on the service. So what comes up is, again, basic information about the service itself here. Now, if you want to, you can adjust any of this right here on this screen. But also, it's very easy. Once it's been added to the estimate, you have, again, full access to all of this as well. You can change any of this once it's already on the estimate also. Things like the display name. It defaults, like I said, most of the time it's the same as the name, but if you want to have a different name for the client, you can change that. Over here, it's per visit, or time material. So per visit means we're going to estimate this thing, we're going to estimate this cost until we know the client's going to know, if we do this service, this is the price already. And again, down here, is there a frequency? What kind of frequency? And is there a specific number of visits we're doing? Like I said, again, this is saying 80% of the time, These are our defaults. But like I said, you can adjust these as you need. There's also the notes field that you can see in here as well, so that this is things like customer description. You can see this information here and any crew instructions. So we'll go over these again once they've been put onto the estimate, but they are fully editable here. And again, when you're changing anything here, you're only changing it for this particular estimate. Now, I'll hit add to service here. And so again, you can see now it's got one service ready to add, and it's going into the included section over there as well. Now, I can hit add services at the bottom, and I can do this. I can go in and out, add service, add one, add another one, add a few. Totally fine. Or you can decide I want to add a couple. You can add as many as you need. Now again, if you added one that you don't want to add right over here, you can also just remove it before it even gets onto the estimate. But again, if it does get on the estimate, totally fine. It's very, very easy to just take off the estimate as well on there. Now, I'm going to add another one. I'll click on the mow and trim here. This one here, click on this service here. Again, weekly, every week. Typically, we have 26 visits on there as well. I click on add service, and now I have 2 in the included one as well on there for that. Again, you can click on fall cleanup. Again, you can hit cancel. You can choose on whatever services you want, aeration, overseeding. I'll just again click this one for example. Add this one as well. You can do is you can take them out. You can put them in. So now when I'm ready. Again, if I hit cancel, nothing happens. Nothing will be added to my estimate. But when I'm done, I hit add services, and then these services will now be added. Now, again, you'll notice here they're all under the included section here. That means when they're first added, they will go into the included section. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you need to change that, you can definitely do that after it's been on the estimate. It's not a problem. So I'll click add services. So now it's going to add the screen refreshes. And now my estimate I have in my included section, there are my services. Now, the default ordering at this point is this is the order that you put them into to the service bucket there. So they show up here. But you can easily rearrange these as you need to. And the rearranging is more for on the proposal, I would like these services to appear in a specific order. And we'll talk about that shortly, how easy it is to rearrange those ones as well on there. Now, once they're here, like I said, now again, we had 4 cleanups of bed cleanup with mulching, or so excuse me, 4 visits, 26 visits of the mow and trim service. It's there as well. Now, the cost, the price, again, this, like I said, this cost and price is what has come across based on what was in my cost book. But now that they're here, like I said, now that they're here, you're again, most times we'll be adjusting this, maybe not the number of visits, but like, what is the size of this client's area that we have to do the mowing on? What is the bed size? How much mulch are we going to need on there as well? So again, you definitely want to go in there and make adjustments for that. Now, so once the services have been added, now again, it doesn't matter what area they go into, a couple buttons here. So the first button I'll go over is this pencil icon. It's the edit button. Again, if you hover over it, edit the service. Now, what this is editing, this is exactly what I was showing before. If I click edit service here, I have that same window where I can adjust the name, where I can change the number of visits, where if I need to adjust any of these other things in here as well, you can do that. I can also, like I said, if I added a service inadvertently that I didn't want to add, from the edit service, I can click remove service, take it off, no problem. I can go to the notes. Like I said, if I know now that if I have specific instructions for this bed cleanup for this client, now that it's on this estimate, I can go into here and I can put in client specific instructions. That way, like I said, if you do that, the nice thing is it's every time they go out to do this service, those instructions will be visible on the mobile app and on timesheet, no problem as well. Also, customer description here. So the customer description is nice. Again, like I said, if you want to show the customer on the proposal document itself, this is what we're going to do. This is the things that we're going to do for this service, so they get a good understanding of what that is as well. Now, the nice thing as well, this is optional. Like I said, on the proposal itself, you can choose not to show this in certain cases if you don't want to as well. So I'm just going to click cancel here. But again, so the edit, like I said, you can edit the name, you can edit the number of visits, you can edit the frequency. So again, if a frequency is different for a particular client than the default, the way to edit the frequency is you click on the edit service and you can change the frequency there as well. Again, if you have to on there as well. So that's the first button, the edit button. Like I said, you can just edit those services. But now the actual more specific changes, like I said before, where how big is the area we're doing? How many? What is the area of the beds, and what is the mulch that they want? How much mulch do we need? So for things like that, instead of hitting the edit button, if you click on the service name, that one again where it has a little arrow, that will expand that service to show you all of the specific information that was set up on that service in the cost book as well. So I do that again. It's very nice. What happens is that the service is all in blue. It's the blue square. This is this specific service. This is how we're coming up with the price for this particular service as well. Now, like I said, in some services, you may have a kit in here as well. And if you want to expand the kit, you can see these are the different things that are in the kit also. If you don't have a kit, that's fine. You can still have all the items. You can adjust the things that you need as well on there. That's not a problem as well for that. You can collapse the kit also. But again, all the information, you can still change the visits here. You can see the total per visit times 4 visits, and it figures out how much it's going to cost as well. Now, also, what's nice, and we'll make some changes here and show you how that works. But also what's nice over here is that there is an add items button where, again, now that we have the service on here, if I need to add anything that's not already in this service, if something was missed, or if in some cases, oh, you know what, I need to add an additional thing for this client, totally fine. Click add items, and then you have access to all of the stuff in your cost book, including plants, materials, labor, equipment, anything subcontractors, miscellaneous items, anything else in your cost book, you can add it now to this specific service. And again, because you're on the estimate, you are just changing the estimate here, the service on this estimate. The service in the cost book, it still has all the defaults on there as well for that. So again, I'll just give you an example. If I click it, then I say I have now kits, equipment, materials, plants, labor, like I can add any of these things to this particular service as well. Now, on here, what I'm going to do now is I just want to kind of show you, I have a kit in this service, how I can adjust this as well. So number one, I can just change a quantity. Okay, I know this customer, I go and look, for example, go to the details tab. Their bed area is 200 square feet. Okay, so I go here, 200 square feet. And again, because it's a kit, again, we're just use this as now, this is a specific kit that we've put into this service. And again, we have other videos on how kits are created on there as well. But this now takes all the stuff in the kit, all the items in the kit, and does the quantity based on the kit ratios and figures, okay, based on 200 square feet, that's what this is going to cost. And these are the different quantities that you're going to need. Now, another nice thing with kits, or if you use kits, is that this kit is calling for black dyed mulch. And again, if we've set that up in the cost book, because again, that's the majority of the time, that's kind of our go-to mulch that our clients use. But the kit may have different options in there, so that if the client wants a different mulch, I can choose a different mulch. Now, it's not going to change the quantity, but it'll change potentially the cost of the mulch. So if I wanted to change that, all I do is on the kit here, if I click on the edit kit button here, that brings me up the options for the kit, where I can see, first of all, the quantity, but also there's an advanced section here in the kit. Click on that button, and then that shows, okay, the lead item, these are the mulches you can pick from. So again, if it's totally, this client wants red, great. Click on the red dyed mulch. Again, doesn't change the quantity, everything else is identical. I hit apply changes, and so now, then I can have that quantity of the mulch in there as well. And again, you can adjust the quantity here. Again, do that. You can change whatever. 250. You can go back up and down. You can adjust that as it's supposed to be on there as well for that. Now, when you have the item, so when that information is there, once you have that, the other thing you can adjust as well, again, on here is the price of the visit. Now, you can adjust the price of the single visit, and if there are multiple visits, it will then multiply that and figure out, okay, well, if one visit costs this much, then the total price is that. So you can adjust the price of that, or you can just change I want all 4 visits to cost this much as well, and you can do that also. You click on either of these as well. Now, once you've done that, then you can also click on the analysis here for this service, which will give me a breakdown. So if I click on analysis now, it gives me a breakdown saying, okay, my cost, which is these are our raw costs for the service. This is how much overhead we're recovering. Again, based on my budget settings all the way back at the beginning of the process, the budget settings in this division. This is my theoretical break even. So really we should be charging, again, based on the budget, at a bare minimum, $95 an hour for this service. We're charging 100, so this is a profit margin per service, total price, hours, hourly revenue based on there as well. So again, you can see this, and again, as you adjust your price, so if I hit close here, if I decide I'm going to make this 115 even or close to that, I can click here, 115, and then he's going to try and get to that number, and so now it's 460 times 4. If I click analysis now, again, these three all the same. It still costs me the same amount of money. I'm just charging less. So my profit margin has gone slightly down from 19 to 17% margin on there as well. So again, each service you have, you can go in there and this is likely where you would be making those changes for each client. So again, like I said, even if you had an estimate template that had 3 or 4 services or 6 services, you still want to go through, okay, this client, this is his size of property, this is the mulch he wants, then they go through each one and do it that way as well. So once you're done the service, again, you don't have to collapse it, or but you can to kind of make it so it collapse that service, then you can go into the next one, mow and trim. Okay, this client here, again, 15,000 square feet. So right here, 15,000 square feet, figure, okay, 4689. Again, I can check the analysis tab. What does that get? It's just a 15% margin. Okay, well, I don't want to charge $46.89 per service. We'll make it 45. Our break even's 39. We're still making money, so I'll go there, $45 per visit, and it'll recalculate again. It's not changed. It's all whenever you change pricing on a service in here. What it does, it goes through all of the items within that service and adjusts the profit margin just a little bit to try and come up to the number that you are looking for. Now, again, if I click on analysis again, yeah, we're still making 12% margin on this as well. Like, so you still have that useful information there as well for that. Now, the last thing I want to show you again, within this particular section here is the other icon is the drag handle, like the little 3 lines. So basically, like I said, if I wanted these services to appear in a different order within this section, I can click and take mow and trim and put it above bed cleanup with mulching. No problem. This is now more specifically related to the proposal layout itself on there. Now, the other thing on here as well that I want to do is things like you can also drag them to a different section. So if the aeration, it typically is included, but for this client, they don't want it as part of their. They want to have it as an on-demand where if they're going to do this, they will ask us and then we can do it. So if I want to move aeration to on-demand, the easy way to do it is to click on the drag handle, click and hold, grab the aeration, and then drag it down to on-demand. Done. Like that's it. It's very simple. Like I said, now there's other ways to do that. I could click on the edit and I can go over here and I can click on in contract and it'll move it back up there as well. So that again, it's very simple to drag around. That by doing that, it's simply adjusting these values in here as well for that. So I'll leave it down there for now. But like I said, you can drag them or you can go into there and do that as well for that. Now, for the optional section here as well, for the optional sections, the optional things that the client may want, but they're not sure if they want it on demand at all. There's still like something or if you have different potential levels and you want to say, okay, these are your 3 options, 1, 2, and 3, you can put things into the optional section. Now, the idea with the optional section is that the client will decide which ones they want, if any, and then before we turn this into a job, we'll move them from the optional into it's included in the contract or it's as needed or on demand on there as well. Now, I'll take this aeration and I'll drag it into optional. Again, I could have gone in and edited as well. So now it's an optional service. Now, a nice thing you can do as well is that if you have different levels of aeration or different levels of fertilization or different levels, of a particular service that you want to offer, one thing you can do, if I click on the edit button here, now that it's in the optional, over here I have an optional. Now, because it's an optional, I have a way to do, is it part of a group or is it just something that they can pick on there as well? So no grouping is fine. I mean, just pick yes or no. It's a simple yes, no. But if I want them to be part of a particular group, I can click on the plus button here, and then I can add a group header and a group name, and then give it a brief description. These are your choices for aeration 1, 2, and 3, like gold, silver, bronze type of service on there as well. You can give it that name, and then you can say which services belong under that particular grouping as well on there. So like I said, this is more for it's not you wouldn't choose multiple ones in here. I'm choosing one of the aeration service levels on there as well for that. So that's that. And this is once it's in the optional section. But again, you can uncheck this box and it'll come out of optional, or when I can take it and I can drag it down into one of the other sections as well. Now, I'm just going to save the estimate right now. Again, just as I'm going along, save it. So another thing at the bottom here that you'll notice that each service has its own analysis section, and also there's also a grand total for the whole thing. So I find it simpler that you go service by service. I want to charge so much per service. That's the way it is, and it adds it up and gives you a total for the entire estimate. Now, this total down here, this does not include any on-demand, as needed, or optional services, because it does not know, or Manage 360 does not know, are those services going to be included? Are we going to do that? How many times are we going to do the on-demand service? Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 10 times. Or if it's a snow thing, we don't know the total package price, because if it's an as-needed service and it's X dollars per visit, then we don't know when that's going to be. So that's why this total is the included amounts on here as well. Now, that also had, now I have another analysis section. I can see for overall, I can see service by service, but if I wanted to see how am I doing on the whole, all the included services, I click on that. And again, same window, but again, just this is now for the overall included services that are on there as well. Same thing, profit margin, overall pricing, grand total. Now, I can change, if I wanted to make the entire package and all of the included services come out to a specific price, I can do that right here as well. But now that if I do it this way, again, what it's going to do is going to go through all of the services that are included and adjust them. So you may have slightly different service prices than you wanted. So that's why I find it simpler to go service by service, set the price up, and then it'll add up to what you want as well on there. But again, this total is the included services. So we've added some services, made some edits in here as well. But now I want to take a look at the billing. Now for the billing tab, again, go to the billing tab. Basically, like I said, there's three main options. Is there a potential discount for prepayment? Again, if you know that these clients are like, this is definitely not, they're not going to prepay. If there's a lot of service that's not going to be prepay, you can just leave that alone on there as well. But if you have something that they may prepay, some of the certain price level that may prepay, if they click on this option, now they can prepay it. Now you can potentially give a discount as well if you'd like to for prepayment. You don't have to. A discount can be zero, just prepay, and that's fine. Or you can say I want potentially a 5% discount for prepayment. Now, when you do this, basically, again, what would happen if they do that? It will then generate. If we win this job, win this estimate, and if I choose yes, they are prepaying, I can confirm the percentage. It'll create a single invoice with a 5% discount on there as well for that. Now, again, the other options are there as well. So manual and per visit are essentially they're the same thing in that the clients are going to pay as we do the visits. Doesn't matter if they're included or not included as needed. If they're going to do like I said, 26 mow and trims over the season, whenever we do the visit, that visit is now ready to be billed. So on the job side, again, there's another video for the job and then the billing process on there as well. But basically, the visit's done, the timesheet's done. The guy said, "Yeah, we did it." The crew said, "We did it." That visit's not ready to be billed. So in that case, with the per visit billing, it's just some months if we don't do any services or we just do some mowing only, they're only going to pay for that. In some months we do the as needed services, we also do the aeration, we also do the other services on there as well. In some months they'll be paying more than others. That's what the per visit, basically they pay as the services are rendered. The other option is periodic, and again, like it says, it's basically you can set up a specific frequency and number of payments, and then we're going to take the total and kind of try and divide it over those payments as well. Now, basically the frequencies are monthly or weekly. Like the vast majority of the time it's monthly billing, but you can do weekly billing as well if you'd like. That's also fine. Monthly billing. Now, the default option is there's no deposit. I'm just going to take the months, tell you the first month, first payment date. We'll start paying on June 1, and they're going to pay for, 6 payments and pre-fill. So it's going to take the total and divide by 6 and give you as close as it can 6 equal payments. It takes the first date and then it fills the rest of the dates in on there as well. Excuse me. On there, and then you're good to go. Now, it just the last payment may be different depending on the total, how many has to divide by as well to make it work out. Now, you can change the dates if you'd like for the subsequent payments, but it tries to make them all the same. The nice thing with the dates is that, again, if you use this, then on the job, when the billing happens, when that date went on July 1st, on August 1st, these items automatically become due, and then they can be just billed and managed as well for that. Now, we do have an option for if they want, again, if we want to have the first payment be higher or the first payment be more of a deposit, 10% down or whatever we choose, then I can click on the percentage here, or I can click on the amount and have a specific dollar value for the first payment as well. If I click percentage, then basically it says, okay, how much, let's say we'll say 25% down, and they'll pay the rest over so 25% down, first one there, still want 6 payments, pre-fill, and so now the first payment, $407.50. The subsequent 5 payments are now divides up the rest on there as well. So very nice. Again, if you do want to have the first payment be a little bit higher to get a cash flow going on there as well in the early season also on there. Again, you can change this. You can change the number of payments. You can change the dates on here as well for that. Now, so the final tab, again, once we have with the billing, we have some services. The final tab is the proposal. So this is now take the information that I have here and I want to send this to Word. So in the proposal tab, so again in here I can't click the view proposal button. So this is typically the first time you've made the estimate, because like it says in the hover, you must select a proposal template. Now, in the template, I click here and I can choose different templates. I'll just choose the maintenance version here. And again, there's different ones that you can select. Next, I said we have another video that goes over this process within all the options that are in there as well for that. But from here, once you've selected it, basically you can choose. You can have these are the headers we typically use. Do I want this header? In some cases, you got let's take the header off for this time as well. You can say remove the header, not a problem. Now again, we're only removing it from this proposal, from this one time we're running it. You can always go back and choose another template, and the header will come back as well, or you can add it back directly here as well. Take it off, so there's no header in this case. But like I said, by default, we're saying this template includes that header. Now, once we've got that in there, like I said, the edit button, we'll go over that in a separate video because it's go all the options. But basically, when you're here, you select the template, make any decisions you want with headers or footers, add additional ones, no problem there. You can add other footers, again, not a problem. And then you click the view proposal button. Like I said, this now takes information we have in Manage on the estimate, on the services tab, any notes, proposal notes, all the information, and creates a Word document that we can click on it, and then it opens up Word, and then we can see the template on here as well. And again, logo, information about the company, services we're going to offer, and then down below it gets into the specific details, how often we're coming, what it's going to cost, any on-demand stuff that's additional on there as well, the payment schedules there. Like I said, all the information that is here, and again, the information that is on the Word document is all really controlled. Vast majority of this is controlled by those templates. How much or how little am I showing this first page? Am I showing pricing, all this stuff, information? Am I showing the visit numbers? Like I said, the video that goes over all that information. Now it's in Word, then you can save it. You can, if you need to make any edits in Word, you can do that right here as well for that. So I'll just minimize this on here as well. Now the last thing I want to talk about for this video here is the actions button. Like I said, you don't have to be in any specific tab, but the actions button has things you can do to the estimate itself. Now, click on the actions button. So again, a lot of these are very, very straightforward. The first one is reports. So every maintenance estimate has 2 reports that you can choose to run. Click on the reports button. There's a maintenance estimate analysis report, which is essentially those analysis buttons that we had clicked on. If I wanted to have something I can print out, this gives you pretty much the exact same information there as well. There's also work order type report, which kind of summarizes, again, all of the services and how long it's going to take and how much we're charging for each service on there as well, what's involved in each service on there. So to click either of those reports, you click on the report name, and then you can run it from there as well. Let's go back to the estimate. Like I said, those are, every maintenance estimate has those two. Again, back to the actions button. So refresh pricing, again, so as you're adding the services to the estimate, it's using the price from the cost book for the items on there. So if I have gone and adjusted, or if the overhead markup or the profit margin has been adjusted, then and I want that to be reflected on the existing estimates, I have to go to the estimate and click refresh pricing, and you can pick that up. If I've gone into the cost book and edited the services, if I've tweaked the services, added other items, or made some changes on those services, and I want that to be reflected on the estimates, I click on refresh pricing as well for that. Again, so like I said, once you have stuff on an estimate, any external changes do not automatically propagate to the existing estimates unless you click refresh pricing. Click on refresh pricing again, and it tells you what it's going to do. Like I said, cost, rental status of equipment, warranty information, labor burden, sales tax, the minimum price of services, profit margins, all that kind of stuff. Click refresh pricing. It'll go and get those updated prices on there as well. Now, new version again. So the new version, very nice. If I give this to the customer, and if they say, oh, what if we change the mulch, or what if we don't took that service, or we don't want that service? Again, you can easily change that in here. But if you wanted to keep that original estimate around, then the new version allows you to create another one so it'll create, in this case, ME 31892.1, and I'll have 31892 available all the time. So on there as well. So if I need to refer back to it, I'll have it on there. So the version does that. And you can create as many versions as you want. It'll just keep numbering 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 on there. Now, I could talk about the beginning, the template. So this is how you create a template. Again, and any estimate you have, any existing estimate, you can create a template from that estimate. Again, basically it takes information from the services tab, all the different services, whatever's on those services, and creates a template for that. The only thing that manager would like to know is what is the name of the template. Now, again, you want to name it something that you know, okay, this is our mowing package, and this is our standard overall full package. This is our light package. You can give a name. That way, you know when you're picking it, you know, okay, that's typically what I'm going to get. I know what I'm going to get on there. You will see the services that are listed on that template, on that estimate template screen, but it's good to give it a good, useful name that's clear, so that everyone knows kind of what the general information is on that template. Now, it doesn't do anything to this estimate. You can leave this estimate alone. Doesn't change the estimate. Just allows you to use it for other customers, other opportunities on there as well. Now, last couple here, estimate one, estimate loss. So these are kind of the culmination of the whole estimation process, the whole sales tracking process. So at some point, when we give it to the customer, they agree to do it or they don't. So if they do, we want to turn this into a job, so then we can move forward and manage. And we want to track that, because that will then, manage that opportunity. We won that opportunity, close it off, mark it as the one opportunity, so I can start reporting off of it as well. So estimate one is used in that regard as well. And again, all the information on the estimate is turned into the job. The estimate lost function, that's on the other hand, the customer, we decide not to go with us, that's fine. We still want to track that, because then we can get information about why did they not choose us on there as well. Estimate one, estimate lost, you want to do those at the end of the estimation process. Now, if you do lose it and the customer decides to change their mind, you can still take a lost estimate and flip it. You don't have to start over from scratch again on there. Now, the deletion component, if we want to delete the estimate, we're testing with the estimate, or the customer, which we don't need this estimate anymore, no problem, you can delete it. Whenever you try to delete anything in Manage, for across the whole thing, it's always going to ask for confirmation. I'll say no in this case, so it doesn't delete it. But you can just delete the estimate as well on there. So again, thanks for watching the video. We've gone over the estimation maintenance creation process, from the opportunity, adding the services, making edits, what the billing looks like, during the proposal document as well, making adjustments to the services, and what actions you can do. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you for watching this Manage 360 training video. View the next video to continue your training, and for any questions, visit our website at DynaScape.com.